All right. Well, looks like it's about that time. Anyway, this is Kerry Knoll, and I just wanted to hop on here live and kind of show you guys a little rundown of how to use Google Tag Manager if you're interested in that and you're not sure how to use it or how to get the most use out of it, specifically for your Facebook pixel and also with your ClickFunnel challenge funnel. So I thought I'd hop on here. I think I'm going to try to do one of these pretty often, maybe every day, right around this time, about 4 p.m. I think it'll work best for me to cover some of these little text tricks or tips or whatever you want to call it that may benefit you. So the first one, like I said, I want to talk about Google Tag Manager. Just want to share a little bit about how to use it and how it can benefit your business. So first and foremost, we're going to head over to tagmanager.google.com. If you're not sure how to get there, you can just go to google.com and search for Tag Manager, and it should bring it right up. And then just click on it. You may have to initially click like Get Started to sign up for it. Once you do, you'll be brought to basically a dashboard that looks like this, and it'll show you all your accounts. And basically, you won't have any accounts here like I do. And you'll have to click on Create Account. So you'll do that. And then you'll just give it a name. For instance, this might be, your challenge name. So this could be your challenge name. It could be your business name. So let's just maybe do that. Might make more sense. And then select the country you're in. And then you can either share data anonymously with Google and others if you want to. And then you need to create your container setup. Well, that's usually your website itself. So for this, it might be your website.com. And then you'd want to choose your target platform. In this case, it's going to be web. But you do have options for iOS, Android, AMP, and server. And then once you've done that, you should be able to click create. So there's something wrong with my container name. Hold on a second. And it might be the fact that it's not a viable name. Let's see. Interesting. Let's try your domain instead. Okay, so I just basically did not have web selected. Oops, my bad. Sorry about that. So it could be yourdomain.com, and you can get rid of the www if you want. It does not matter. And then hit create. And then you have to basically abide by the terms of service agreement. So you can read through that if you like. And I'm just going to click here. I also accept the data processing terms as required by GDPR. Select yes. It's basically going to bring you to install Google Tag Manager code. So we'll do that first and foremost, since it's brought right up for us. So the first part's going to go to the head of the page. So we're just going to copy that. And then we're going to head over to ClickFunnels. And if you were in your ClickFunnel sales funnel for whatever you're using it for, whether it's for challenges or something else, all you need to do is click on settings once you're in the appropriate funnel that's associated for that domain. In the head tracking code, you would just paste it in there. And then we go back to Google Tag Manager. We're going to copy the second bit of code right here. And we're going to paste it in the body tag tracking area over here. Once you do that, just scroll down the page, click Save and Update Settings. And now you have your Google Tag Manager code and all the code that you'll ever need as far as pixels or other data collection scripts in one place. Now it'll all be at Google Tag Manager, and you won't have to add anything additionally to your ClickFunnels sales funnel at all. We go back to Tag Manager. We just hit OK. Now from here, it looks a little bit cumbersome and a little overbearing. So just follow me. It's not that difficult. We're going to click on, we can either do here, add a new tag, or you can click on tags to the left. And from there, we're going to click on new. And we're going to give our tag a name. So in this case here, we're going to call this is going to be for our Facebook pixel. So I'm just going to call it Facebook pixel. And then I'm going to do I'm going to name it a little further. I'm going to call it page view. And I'm going to name it a little further and call it all pages. Now, the reason we're doing that is because this is just going to be the base code for page view on all pages, is essentially what this title means. So what we do next is we just have to go to tag configuration, click on that. And we have two options. One is you could select custom HTML, and I'll do that quick and demonstrate how that works. Let me pull up my code. So if I were to go to Facebook Business Manager, if you recall, if you're in business.facebook.com, you're here and you want to get to your pixel, the best way to do it is click on Events Manager. From Events Manager, we are going to click on Add Events drop down. From there, we're going to click on From a New Website. When we do that, we can click on Install Code Manually, and it'll bring it up so we can just click this green button, copy code, and all that code has been copied to the clipboard. Then we can come back to Google Tag Manager and we can literally just paste it in as HTML, which is JavaScript. From here, you can see that it uses your Facebook pixel ID. And it's also just tracking the page view conversion of it. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. The other way would be to literally just get your Facebook pixel ID, whether it's from the code directly. So you could just copy it from here. Or if we were back in Facebook and we canceled this, and then we could copy it from here, just that way with a Control C or right click and copy, then come back to Google Tag Manager. And then instead of using the HTML version of this, we can go over here and click on Discover More Tag Types in Community Template Gallery. Click on that. Then we're going to search for Facebook. Clicking the little search icon, we can type in Facebook, and you can see there's Facebook pixel here by the Facebook incubator. So we can click on that instead. Then we have to click add to workspace. Once we do that, it's going to prompt us again to make sure we want the proper permissions. I just leave them as defaulted. I click add. And then it comes in and basically replaces the HTML area for this particular tag configuration. And we can just paste in our Facebook pixel ID. And then again, we're selecting the page view event type from, it's selected by default, but this is where you would select other conversion events, standard conversion events. So once the page view has been selected, you really don't have to do anything else with the particular tag configuration. And now we have to do the trigger. So this trigger, we're just going to click on it. And by default, we have this opportunity to click all pages. And for the page view event, that's what we want. So we're going to click on that. And then this is now been configured for the simple page view standard event. Just click save. And it's all set up and ready to go. And if you wanted to double check and test it out, you go back to your ClickFunnels account. You can load up the page through the preview. So we could do this. We could click on the actual page. We could click on preview. And then we should be able to use the Facebook pixel helper. And it probably hasn't updated. Let me see. Of course, let me go to pixels found, add and tracking blockers can prevent pixel fires. That should be blue and it should show 1 pixel and it should be for a page view. And of course, because I want to show that and demo that it's working, it's not. But I promise it is set up correctly. Oh, I know why. There's one more step to this. I was going to add more pixels, but I wanted to show you that first. But what we do is we basically have to submit our changes to this workspace. So we do that by basically submitting the changes. We give it a version name. In this case, we're just going to say added Facebook pixel, page view, something like that. Something generic in general. Hit publish. It has to publish it to go live. And once it does that, it summarizes what you've done. And then if we come back here and refresh it, we should be seeing it working. Don't you love tech? You know, it might not be firing because we're on the preview too. So let me do this instead. Let me go to the actual page instead of the preview page. And it's still not firing. Okay. When in doubt, view page source and search for the pixel ID. And if you don't find it, like it didn't find, it means it hasn't been added to the page. So why is that happening? Let me double check again. Sure, it's something to do with the Facebook or with the ClickFunnels caching of their pages. Like whenever you make an update to a page, it then says like update will appear within, and it tells you a time, and it's usually 1 minute out. So it flushes all the cache so it can show you the most updated version. So let me just double check there's nothing in the footer or header code. There is not. And this is why we do tech like this, because now we have to debug stuff that happens. Let me look at, just double, triple check. My Google Tag Manager is in place. Everything's in alignment with that. Likely it has something to do with the domain because we are not using a domain with this. Perhaps that has something to do with it. Either way, like I said, if you do what I've done, it should be working for you, specifically if you have a domain associated with your sales funnel. So let's just move on and ignore that little issue for the moment. Let's go back to the workspace. And let's go back to tags. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up just real quick, I'm going to walk you through Google Analytics and setting up a tag for the Google Analytics. So we have our Facebook page view, all pages. Now we don't have any standard conversion events for lead or purchase yet. This is a one-page funnel that does not have a second page in it yet. But the way we would do that is we would go to triggers. So I'll do that quickly. Go to triggers. We're going to create a new trigger. And what we're going to do with this new trigger is we're going to call it page view, like this. And we're going to then give it the path that the page view will be. Let's say this was after someone opted into your challenge and they landed on a thank you page for the redirect directly over to the Facebook group. So that page might just be something as simple as / opt-in thank you. I don't know what it will be for sure. It could just be thank you. But we know that with the ClickFunnels, there can only be like one thank you with the word thank and -u. Each one is a unique identifier across the funnel, not per domain. So once I use like this particular extension for my page, then I can't use this exact same one again on another funnel within the same ClickFunnels account. So that's why I would probably name it something like this. It might even be the name of the challenge. So it might be your, might be your challenge name or something like that, or abbreviation of your challenge name. So this could be challenge name. Thank you. And then what we would do is we'd say this would be for a lead. So we'll just add, what we're going to do is do a trigger here. We're going to do page view. And then from page view, we're going to say some page views. And under some page views, we can do path or URL. In this case, we're going to do path, and it's going to contain this path. So this would be like / challenge name, thank you. Okay. And then we're going to save that. So we have this triggered, right? Now, if we come back to tags and we were to basically create another Facebook pixel tag for lead event. So we do FB pixel lead. And then this would be for the thank you, the challenge name thank you page, right? So we'd call it that. Challenge name thank you page. Something like that to easily identify it. Then we would click over to our Facebook. So we have to click on, we can choose it, I think now that we added it. Yes, it's down here. So it's under custom. So after we've added it one time, we don't have to continue to discover it because it's been added to our list. So we can click on it here. We just paste in our pixel ID again, and now we change the standard view, standard from page view to lead. And then we scroll down further to the triggering. We're going to click on trigger. And here we're going to choose our brand new trigger, which is page view with the extension of challenge name thank you. So that means every single time this page gets viewed, gets hit by a website visitor, this particular standard event for lead gets fired and sent back to Facebook. So we save that. And now we have our lead event set up. Now, granted, you would have to have a page within your sales funnel that was appropriately labeled, and that I'm going to do this quickly. So I'm going to add a new step. We're just going to call it thank you. Create funnel step. And then we're just going to go to the thank you options. We're just going to grab some sort of generic thank you page. We'll just grab this one. And then we have to give it that extension name, right? So if this is the Crush It template #1, that could be what we name it, but then we'll have to change our tag. So I'm just going to call it challenge name thank you. So we click on the gear icon right there like I did. It brings this up. This is the path we have to worry about. So this is where you would perhaps name it to a thank you or the challenge name thank you like I named it. And since that's unique to this funnel, it will show up like this without any numbers behind it. If you had used this exact same path on a different funnel, it would require some numbers and it would add them on automatically. You might be able to try to name it the exact same thing, but then if you did and hit update page, you would notice that when you visited the page, it would have a bunch of numbers behind it where this one does not. This one is perfectly okay with the challenge thank you. Challenge name thank you. So if we come back here and you want to double check, you can do so by clicking the gear icon. You can see the path is here without it clean, without any numbers behind it. So you know that's going to be the correct path. And then you can always double check by clicking the little arrow icon over here to view the actual page once it renders. Never pay attention to the URL that you see here. This is never the final URL of what it's going to display on the web. Okay. And so if we go back over to Google Tag Manager, there's our page view that we set up for that lead. So once someone opts in from our funnel and they land on that thank you page using that particular naming convention that matches, then it fires off the lead event back to Facebook and says to Facebook, you got a lead, right? Same scenario and steps apply to adding a purchase event. So if you're doing VIP and you want to do the VIP, do the same thing. You create a page view with the extension of the VIP thank you page, and then add the purchase event. In fact, we can do that quick because why not? So what we do here is we go to triggers again. So I'll walk you through it one more time. We click on new. We give it a name. In this case, I like to call it page view. And then what the extension would be. So in this case, I'm going to call it VIP. Thank you. And I can just copy that if that's what it's going to be. Then we're going to go to page view again. We're going to do some page views. And then we can change this to a variety of different options. You could put in the whole page URL, which would be the whole enchilada of https://www.yourdomain.com/ VIP thank you. Or you can do the path, which is basically just the extension to it, which is VIP thank you. And I believe you can do it with or without the / there. I think it'll read either way. If it's not firing correctly for one reason or another, just remove it or add it if necessary. Hit save. So now we have a second trigger. Go back to our tag. We're going to create our tag again. So this one's going to be FB Pixel purchase. And then we can do VIP thank you, something like that. Come back to our tag configuration, scroll down to the Facebook pixel. We're going to grab it. I'm going to paste in our Facebook pixel, which is not what that is. Let me grab my Facebook pixel again. All right, there it is. We're going to change the standard event name from page view to purchase. Scroll down to our triggering. On our trigger, we're going to grab the page view VIP thank you. Okay, that looks all right. We're going to hit save. And just for naming conventions, I put thank you page here. I could do that too. I could just click on it again. And I'm a big stickler with naming conventions, so I would put thank you page at the top, just save it. All right. And then when you're finished adding what you want to be adding to your tags, Just remember, nothing will work until you submit it. So click submit again, give it a new descriptive name. This is for internal use only, really, so it doesn't really matter what you name these. It could be anything. In this case, I'm just going to put added lead and purchase event, Facebook purchase events, or Facebook events. And then submit it. And then we're live. Those versions are live. And of course, like I said, it's probably not working because we have a BS domain here, yourdomain.com, and it can't work correctly with the site. Okay. So that's why the Facebook pixel helper is not identifying the tags and firing the tags. I should have known that from the get-go, but that's what's happening. Almost 100% certainty. And if I'm wrong, it's not the first time I've been wrong. But anyway, that's how you do it. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them here live if you're here watching. If not, no big deal. Hit me up, post a comment underneath the video, and I'll do my best to answer, or we can hop back on when I come on again. If I come back tomorrow at the same time to do another little tutorial about something related to the tech or related to Tag Manager, if you want to join me then, I would be more than happy to answer your questions regarding this and help you out even further. Since it seems that I have a little more time, I'm going to go ahead and do the Google Analytics that I wanted to shoot your way too. So let's go back to tags. And what we're going to do is, in case any of you have not done Google Analytics before, what you do is you go over to analytics.google.com, or again, just go to google.com and search for Google Analytics, and it'll bring you to the right link to sign up. So once you do that, you'll click on it. It'll ask you to, get started, sign up sort of thing. Once you do, you will be presented with, the opportunity to create a brand new account. So it might look something like this, where you fill in the account name. So this would be your business name. And then you just check off which stuff is important to you and whatever. And then you click next. And then it's going to go into the first property setup, which is the first domain that you want to track. And then it's going to ask you a couple more things about your business. I'm going to shortcut that a little bit. And I'm in here right now, and I'm just going to show you there's a couple tricks of the trade here. This is an older Google Analytics property I set up a long time ago. So it just has the UA hyphen and a number, which is old Google Analytics. The new is the new Google Analytics 4. If we go over to, go back here, if I go to create a property, and I'll just do this under, I'll do it here. And I give the property name something like your business or yourdomain.com. So it follows the same as our Google tags. And I click on show advanced options. So you want to definitely click that. And this is where it says create a universal analytics property. So we're going to turn that on. Then we're going to give it the actual domain here. So www.yourdomain.com. And it says create both Google Analytics 4 and Universal Analytics property. And so we're going to leave that checked. You could just create the Universal Analytics property only, but why not create the old GA4 as well? And then click on next and just answer these questions. So this could be anything. I usually just select internet and telecom, small, and then I just check them all off. I want to know everything I can know about my website and how to optimize it to make more, get more leads and make more sales. Click create. And once you do that, you are going to be prompted with the measurement ID, which is the new G ID here. We can either use this or we can get the original. And the way we do that is through connected site tags. So we can click on connected site tag, and here is the good old UA Google Analytic tag from the old days. So we can just copy that, come back to Google Tag Manager. We're going to click on new. We're going to give this a title of, I'm just going to call it GA for Google Analytics. I'm going to do page view again, because that's what we're going to track. all pages. You can track a lot of different things, but that's what we're going to start with. Tag configuration, they already have it here with Universal Analytics. They have the GA4 configuration. That's the one. You can use either one and then put in the appropriate code based on which one you choose. GA4 configuration is going to use the UA tag, which is what I pasted in here. And we're just going to leave this checked by default, leave everything else alone. Then triggering event is going to be all pages, since that's what we're doing up here in the description of the tag, and hit save. And it looks like I got the wrong one because this one's the G. Okay, so my bad. Scroll back over here. We're going to grab this one. Come back to Google Tags, and we're going to paste that in. This is the correct one. I think it's the universal one that still uses the old one. So let me double check that. So that's set up. Let's say we wanted to do it again and we want to use the universal analytics. That's the UA. My bad. I got them backwards in my mind. Page view is what we're tracking. There's advanced enabling override tag settings. Yeah. So you have to click on enable overriding settings in this tag, and then you have your tracking ID, which you can still get from connected site tags, and you could do the UA, which is universal analytics. I'm sorry, this was the old one. GA4 is the new one, like I said originally, but I got them backwards. So tracking ID here would be UA for the universal. So this would be GA universal, which is called GAU. Page view. Now this would be duplicate, and you wouldn't want to do this. So you want to use one or the other primarily. And same thing, all pages for the triggering. So you could either use Google Analytics, Universal Analytics with the old school UA code, or you can use the brand new GA4 configuration. Let's open it back up. That uses the new G tag, which if we're back in Google Analytics, it's the one that's defaulted under web stream details. Now, the thing with Google Analytics that's the most confusing is how do you always find those codes once you build out a Google Analytics account, right, or property. And so the trick of the trade is to, number one, I always start at admin, because when I get confused, I'm like, let me go to admin. Admin brings me here. Then I can select from here, I can select all the different basically accounts I've created. From there, I can select all the properties under each account to get to the right one. Once I do that, I still get confused. I'm like, where the heck do I get those codes from? The best way to do it is remember it's going to be under data streams. It used to be under tracking code, which made sense. Now it's data streams. And if you click on data streams and then you click on the domain that's configured, it brings up web stream details because that's what we set it up for originally. And there's your measurement ID for GA4, which is the G code. And if you're using that other one, the Universal Analytics or an old school, you need this old UA code for some reason or another, click on connected site tags, which brings up this window, which then shows you the connected tag to it, which you can use. And hopefully that helps some. So anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to share today. I do appreciate anyone who's tuned in and or got anything out of this. Please let me know. Leave me a comment, ask away, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. to do a whole nother little tutorial on some other aspect of some of the sticking points, let's call them, to all the tech that's required sometimes to actually get your sales funnel / challenge up and running and working efficiently for you. So, okay, that's all I got for you. It doesn't look like anyone's here to ask any questions. So with that being said, I appreciate it, and I will see you guys again shortly. Take care and have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.